Hey everyone, welcome. We are getting ready to get started on our live MidJourney 101 training. I see we've got a bunch of people already live with us in the video. We're thrilled to have you guys here. As we kick things off, I want to encourage you to ask questions. I want this to be an interactive session where we share and we talk and I teach you the basics of MidJourney and how we're going to use it. We've had one of our best registrations ever here, so we're hoping we have a great crowd as well. If you happen to be watching us live, again, please enter questions as you have them down in the comments in the chat. I'll be doing my best to watch that. If you're catching us on the replay, don't hesitate to add your questions into the chat on the replay as well, because we'll be monitoring that and answering questions for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to walk through how we get started with MidJourney, and then ultimately how do we create some amazing images with that. So with that, if you guys would, just to get a little engagement here, I see we've got a few dozen people on. If you could go ahead and comment where you're joining us from, just city and state or country, I'd love to hear that. I'm currently in Alabama and would love to hear where you guys are at as well. So if you just throw that in the comments, that'd be great. Lets me know that you guys are there. I get to see my little counter going on, but would love to see that as well. And again, please, just a reminder for any questions as well as we go along. Great. We've got Miami and Tampa. We've got some more popping up. This is great. Austin, Texas. Fantastic. Berkeley, California. Hey, Clinton, how are you? Greg, how are you? Steve, man, it's great. I know some of you guys too. This is awesome. Please feel free to share. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The first thing I want to really do here with MidJourney is I want to talk to you about the kind of the good and the bad of MidJourney. And one of the things that I think probably frustrates more people more than anything else, and it's a legitimate frustration, is just taking a look at how MidJourney operates. So MidJourney isn't just an application as we're so often used to. Let me get my screen set up here. Right, there we go. So MidJourney is not just an application. What we're looking at here is a Discord server. And many of you may be going, Jonathan, what the heck is this? So MidJourney doesn't work currently through the website. Now they are working on fixing that and I should say adding that capability. And if you've created thousands of images, you can get access to that already. Hey, we've got somebody from the UK and Pakistan. Adrian, Fozzie, thank you so much for joining us. Love to see that. That's great. Got somebody from Alaska. Oh, that's awesome. I hope it's nice up there. Hey, Jeff from Manila is on as well. Hey, that's awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you telling me where you're from. As you're joining us, feel free to just throw where you're coming from down in the chat. I love to see where everybody's coming from. But as I mentioned, MidJourney uses Discord, and this is generally where a lot of people just give up because they go, oh my gosh, Jonathan, what is this? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And what I want to walk you through here is show you how it is that we work in MidJourney, and I'm going to simplify this for you guys a lot. So quick overview. Yes, MidJourney is what uses Discord. But what I'm going to show you how to do is to get rid of all of this confusion, set up your own server, and see a screen that looks a lot more like this, where you can simply begin to prompt. And before I get started in some of the basics about setup, and we are going to cover that in a minute, I want to show you just a couple things in MidJourney and why it is that I think MidJourney is the best image generation tool that's out there right now. So before we walk through some of the boredom, I'm an ADD guy. I don't love that. I want to show you a couple images and how to prompt them. So one of the first things to remember when you're using MidJourney, and just so you know if you're catching us here, I am actually on a private channel that I've set up, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. And I've added what's called the MidJourney bot to this channel. And this means that I'm able to create and use images here, and I'm not befuddled by all of the stuff that's in the main MidJourney channel over here. You can see there's all kinds of stuff. So we're going to try to keep it simple because I think that makes life a whole lot easier. One of the things to remember when we're using MidJourney, MidJourney works on different commands. So you would need to know the basic commands. And the first command you need to learn is what's called the imagine command. And we begin that by typing in a /. And notice as soon as we do that, we get a pop-up from MidJourney here. It's saying, oh, here's some common commands: imagine, describe, swap ID, settings. We'll go through all that. But I want to start by creating an image and just show you how easy it is. So we're going to go imagine. So that's how we start. And now once we have this, we can describe the image that we're looking for. So since I just saw somebody join from Alaska, and that's a state I've not yet been to and I'd love to be, let's do this. I want to just do, let's say, a fishing boat in Alaska. and I can't type and chat, by the way, at the same time, or type and talk, so bear with me. Let's say a fishing boat in Alaska in the Bering Straits, Bering Straits, if I can spell that right. Well, never mind, we don't have to do that. We'll just put in a cove, a wooded cove. There we go. And I'm doing this right off the top of my head, everybody, so that's why we don't have it. So that's what we want, a fishing boat in Alaska in a wooded cove. Now, I want to describe what I'm looking for here, and I'll show you as an example here. And so we're just going to put photo, and then for now, that's fine. Now I have some other commands that I can use. So I can determine things like aspect ratio and the model it's using and a few things like that. And I'm going to choose that I want to create this in a 4:5 aspect ratio. So I'm going to put --AR, and we're going to cover these commands in some more detail, but I just want to show you how to do this. 4:5, that's going to tell it to use an aspect ratio of 4:5. I'm going to tell it I want to use version 6, which is the current version of MidJourney, and that's just --V for version 6.0. And don't worry about memorizing all these. I'm going to show you exactly where you can enter these in, and I'll also have a guide for you that you can download later that'll walk you through some of this. And let's see here, what else do I want? Oh, and in this case, well, we'll let MidJourney make its best description. So let's see what happens. We're going to press enter, and as soon as we do that, it sends that command to MidJourney. It does take 10 to 20, maybe 30 seconds to generate. And what's going to happen is you're going to see a counter, and you should be able to see that on my screen right now. We're at 15% right here, and we're growing. As we do this, what we're going to see is that it's going to continue counting. We're at 30, and it's going to generate 4 images for us. And there we go. It's going to give us a preview. It's not quite done yet. It's only at 35%. So when you see this, we don't want to freak out and go, uh-oh, these images don't look good. We're going to continue to give it just a moment. And when it's 100% done, we'll have some more information. There we go. And now we're 100% done. So I can click on this and I can see all 4 images that it created. Those are pretty good, pretty impressive. And I can give even more detail here in a minute. That certainly looks like something I would see in Alaska. But if I want to see more detail below this and I want to describe how this works, we've got 8 different buttons. So U1 stands for this unit up here in the upper right, or upper left, I'm sorry. U2 is for upscaling. U stands for upscaling, by the way. So I could upscale number 1, number 2, which is upper right, number 3, which is lower left, and number 4, which is lower right. So I like this red boat in particular here. So I want to do number 1 and number 4. So I click U1, and then I click U4. And you can see just that quickly, it's going ahead and creating these. And now these images I can also create or click on and get larger versions. And you can see these are really nice, photorealistic, wonderful images that are being created. And I can change different resolutions. So I can do some things there. I want to also show you if maybe I like this red one a lot, and I knew I wanted a variation on that. I have my next row is variation. So I could create a variation on 1, 2, 3, or 4 as well. Or if I like this, but I wanted to change something, I have a regenerate button, and I can click on the regenerate button. It's going to bring up my last prompt. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply change the aspect ratio to like a widescreen TV or widescreen monitor. I'm going to keep everything else the same except 16:9 instead of 4:5. And we're going to go ahead and recreate images. Now, the thing to remember is it's not going to create the same 4 images. It's going to create 4 unique images based on this same prompt that are set up. It's going to take just a moment to walk through this. And what's neat is as we use the Discord bot here to do this, everything will stay in history. So I can always go back and look at that. For example, I'll go back here to one of my channels while that's working. So this is another channel that I have where I'm creating images. If you guys follow me at all, you know I really like Pixar styled images. And I've got thousands of images in here that I can go back and look at and pull back up at any point in time. So anytime I want to do that, I can do that. There's also a lot of styles that MidJourney does. So we just showed you an example of a photo. Here's one I did the other day. You guys can see this is actually a paper cut style. And I thought this was so cool. So I did one myself. And I happen to have grown up in West Michigan where there's a lot of Dutch and they have a big thing called the Tulip Festival every May. So I actually had it look at Holland tulip fields with windmills. And this one didn't have the windmill. But I really thought this style was neat. And we're going to talk a bit today about some of the styles as well. MidJourney, if you guys are interested, by the way, as we get into this, there are so many different things we can do in MidJourney. This is more than just a 101 class. This is 101 today. We're going to have a 201 and a 301 and others if you guys want. As we go through this, I'd love your feedback. I want to know if this is valuable to you guys. But if you'd like to dig deeper into some of these, we could do a class just on styles or a class just on command. So there's a lot that we can do. Let's go back in here and notice we've got our new images here. We've got 4 of them again. These look a bit different, as you can see, but notice now we have a different aspect ratio. We've got a 16:9 aspect ratio. And again, I could upscale these or get variations just like I did last time. So the other thing I want to show you with this is I love this image, but instead of doing it as a photo, I'm going to get rid of the photo tab and I'm going to type in 3D cartoon, if I can spell it right, there we go, animation. And I want to show you by, in this case, telling it the same exact thing, but instead of doing a photo, we want a 3D cartoon animation. It's now going to, again, create 4 new images for us. Every time we do this in MidJourney, it's going to create 4 images, and it's going to create this in a 3D cartoon style. That'll be reminiscent maybe of Pixar or something like that. I'm keeping the prompts really simple right now because I want to show you how we can do that. And this will go ahead and finish here. There we go. We're starting to get some prompts. Let's see what happens here. By the way, again, thank you, Sheila, or I'm sorry, Shalita. We appreciate the definitely valuable. I love to hear that. If you guys have questions as we're going along, again, just a reminder, I'll do this many times. Don't hesitate to put those questions here so we can do that. Now, if we take a look, this isn't totally obvious, but these are definitely more cartoonish, a little bit more Pixar style, but maybe I want to go a little bit further. I'm going to take that same image now. Again, I've said 3D cartoon style. I'm now going to add into the inspired by Disney and Pixar animation. And let's see what that does. So we're keeping the same prompt. We'll keep doing this one through a lot of the course just so you guys can see how that does. But it's going to take these animated images, which are not bad. This is definitely, if I upscale one of these, we'll do up number 1 here real quick, just so you guys can see a little better. If I upscale this, that definitely has a slightly more cartoonish feel to it when I look at the boat and the water and the trees, but it's still a really good image. But maybe I want it even a little bit more so. So let's see what we do. By adding in inspired by Disney and Pixar, it's actually going to look into its training and they're going to say, okay, if I was to do this from a Disney-esque or Pixar-esque type way, what might we do? And let's see what we get. You can see it's changed things a bit, especially if I look maybe down here in image number 3. So let's go take that one a little bit bigger. And we'll be able to see here in image number 3. Now, again, we've got a more cartoonish style boat. This is the type of thing you might, again, see on a Pixar or Disney movie or something like that. So a change in pace. The other thing we can do if we want to do something different, I just showed you that paper cut style. Let's just really quickly get rid of all of this and just put in paper cut style. And again, we won't spend all our day on styles, but I just want to show you how powerful it is that you can go in and simply change some of the basics here and totally change the image that comes up. So I see somebody said, here, let's see, I purchased MidJourney and haven't been put it to much use, so more on MidJourney. Okay, good. I love that. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that feedback. MidJourney, again, is really easy once you get into it, but it does have a little bit of a learning curve getting it up front, and so we'll do that. Wally's asking, how would we do this with a personal photo? So in a moment, what I'm going to show you before we're done, Wally, so I'm going to actually show you how to use a feature called the face replace. And that's it. We can actually create a picture and then put somebody's face on it. I'll use mine in that case and show you how that could work. So that is definitely something that we can do. And you can create people as well. So here we're coming up with a paper cut version. Again, it's taking just a second here. It's not quite done yet. We're at 85%, 95%. By the way, one of the great things about MidJourney is you can go do something else and let this finish in the background. So I don't have to sit here and wait and watch for it. Let's see. It's hard to tell from where we're at. I'm just going to pick let's try number 3 here and upscale that and see if that one's any good. And you can definitely see here a very different style now that's coming through, much more artistic. And there's literally hundreds of different styles. I won't bore you with all those, but things like watercolor and ink drawing and pastel, an impressionist, anything you can think of, you can put in, and chances are MidJourney is going to know a bit about that and how to do that. So that's great. Shatila is asking, where do I find a database of styles? So that's a great question, and it's a great segue into where I want to go next. So thank you for that. I'm going to unshare my screen real quickly and share a new screen, and I'm going to show you what I recommend. So let's see here. There we go. We share that screen, get back in, just press the right buttons. There we are. So I'm in Perplexity right now. Now, Perplexity is another AI tool, but the reason I recommend you use Perplexity with MidJourney is it's going to answer all of your questions, and there's going to be questions. So what I've done here, for example, is I've went in and said, how do I get started with MidJourney? Because obviously we want to know how to do that. You have to get your account set up. You've got to join a Discord server. Like I said, you have to jump through a few hoops. It's worth the hassle, everybody, because the images that you can create are amazing. What I want you to do is literally go into Perplexity and type this. How do I get started in MidJourney? Perplexity is an AI-based search engine. So not only is it going to give you the answer, which is really cool, it literally walks you through right here. It's going to give you 4 different sites, actually 6 total sites you can go to. Or if I want, I can just click and watch this YouTube video, and it's going to walk me through exactly how to get set up. Just the setup alone could take us probably 20 or 30 minutes. And so I'm not going to walk through that today simply because it will bore me and probably bore a lot of you guys as well. But just go to Perplexity, type in, how do I get started in MidJourney, and watch one of the links that comes up. They'll literally walk you through step by step. So again, Shalita asked a really good question about where do I find a database of styles. What I would do is we're just going to go right here and let's click on a new thread and say, please give me a list of the most common MidJourney styles. And just like that, it's going to give us not only, again, like Google, it's going to give us links. So here's 150 best styles. There's some more here, 20 best styles. But it's now actually giving me the answer. And what are we getting here? Let's see here. It looks like we're getting a bunch. Got 75. Now, there's certainly more than that, but just that fast, I've got 75 different styles that I could do. And some of these, I'm not even sure what these are, to be honest. But let's take, for example, let's go ahead and grab, this might be fun. Let's grab pop art. So I'm going to go back into MidJourney here again. So I've got to, bear with me, I've got to reshare my screen, everyone. And I apologize, but my tool requires me to stop and reshare. That's the only way I can do that. So let's go back into MidJourney. And I'm going to show you exactly how, in this case, we can go back in and we're going to now take this same prompt that we looked at, but we're going to use pop art instead. So again, I'm going to go up to regenerate up here, make it simple. And where I put paper cut, I'm going to just paste in pop art. There we go. And submit. We'll let that cook and percolate for just a minute. I saw we had another question come in there in the group. Clinton is asking, what's the difference between the basic and the standard plans? Which do you suggest for an agency? Clinton, that's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. So if you're an agency and you're watching this, one of the things that I love about MidJourney is that they have a very explicit license. So I know where we can they're basically allow us as an agency to buy a license and then create images like this, not only for our agency, but for our clients as well. If you're looking to do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the MidJourney pricing plans here. I believe I'm on the $30 a month plan, Clinton, to answer your question, but let me do a quick look here a minute. And let's see here. So on their subscription plans, they currently have, it looks like, 4 plans. Let me share the screen so everybody can see that while we're doing it. We'll come back and share our pop art here in just a minute. And let's bring up our MidJourney subscription plans. And just like that, let's see here. Make sure that we're sharing that screen. There we go. So here's our subscription plans. So you can see the basic plan is $10 a month, or you can pay $96 a year and save a little bit. You get 3.5 basically hours a month of what's called fast GPU time. My guess, Clinton, for an agency is that's probably not going to be enough for you. You're going to want more. Every image set takes maybe 30 seconds. So while that's a lot of images, you probably are going to want more than that. You can purchase more time if needed at that point at $4 an hour. But what I would definitely recommend is that you consider going to that standard plan of $30 a month. and then you get really good usage terms. You get lots of hours. I have never, knock on wood, using their standard plan, ever ran out of fast generation hours. And it talks here a bit about fast generation time. That's important. And the reason that's important, one, I like the Pro plan because you have unlimited relaxed GPU time. So if you run out, you're not stopped and you can keep moving. But fast GPU time is probably 4 to 5 times faster in generating an image than relaxed is. So if you've got team members that are using it, or you're using this and you value your time at all, making sure you're on the right plan there is going to make a tremendous difference. So that's definitely what I recommend there. All right, let's go ahead and go back and take a look at MidJourney and see what we got with our pop art image. And we looked at a lot of styles here. And here's an example of what they call pop art. Obviously, different designs, everything else, but it gives us lots of different styles. And as you saw there in Perplexity, there were indeed a tremendous number of styles that we could take. Oops, I didn't share that. I'm so sorry, folks. Let me go back into there. You can see some different styles there. If we go back into Perplexity, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of other styles that we could take a look at as well and take a look through that. So let's go ahead and then do the next thing, which is I shared with you guys how, again, this is great, but it's especially great if I can go into my own private server as opposed to being on the MidJourney server. I'm just going to click over there so you can see what it is. Much more confusing, lots of stuff. And by the way, you can generate images in some of these channels over here. You can click and see what other people are doing. This is a great place to go for inspiration if you want to learn maybe how to create images. Let's say this one intrigues me. The neat thing is I can look through this and it'll actually give me the exact prompt that was used. So this one was United States with 10,000 location dots, vector, clean, minimal, orange, green, blue, yellow, white background. That created this image right here. And so you can go here and you can look at images and get inspiration. And that's a great place to do it. But I recommend when I'm creating the images, and you can see they were playing around with different styles here and everything else. So again, this is just live in this channel. Here's somebody creating what looks like a chocolate egg, maybe for Easter. And again, I can take a look at some of those and see those. I can look through here and get inspiration anytime I want. You can take any of these prompts and use them as well. So if this one actually happens to be in a foreign language, that's fine. Looks like probably Spanish. I'm not good at foreign languages, but I can actually copy that. I can now go over to my channel if I want. And I can do that exact same thing. Again, start with Imagine, and I can paste that prompt in, and it's going to create now similar versions for me. The important thing to remember here, and this is a common question, is that MidJourney doesn't necessarily do a great job of creating consistent images. So if I wanted to use one of these boats and create the same one, that doesn't necessarily always happen in the exact same way. It'll create similar images, but not the exact same thing. So let's see, Daniel has a question here. How well, let's see here as we're creating, how well does MidJourney do with reference images, say adding a logo to someone's shirt or truck? That's a great question. So that is not a great use for MidJourney. It's not going to work well. And candidly, none of the image generation tools are going to work well to do that for you at the moment. They can create logos and things like that, but taking an existing logo and adding it, like merging that, probably not going to work well. I'd recommend using Photoshop or Canva to do something like that. There is a blend feature that we can talk about, but that doesn't work well for that. So definitely not a particularly great use. We had another question in here from Noora. Let's see, can we take other people's prompts from MidJourney since it won't? Yes, you can. So I'm not an attorney, guys, so I'm not giving you any legal advice here, but the courts have ruled that AI-generated images are not copyrightable. So that you can absolutely, as we've done here, we can take this image and we can use that same prompt and create similar images. Now, you'll notice these are not the same image that we saw over there because every image has a degree of randomness built in, but you can absolutely do that. One of the reasons that I recommend doing a private channel, and again, we're going to talk about that next here, is because you can't get on my channel if I haven't given you access. So that means you can't see my prompts here. Now, while there technically may be a way for you to dig through the logs and find it, it's not likely to happen because I'm not showing up anywhere over here in this channel or any of the other channels that are on here. So there's all kinds of things here. Again, lots of things you can do, different showcases. So there's, again, you can see different styles. This is again a great place to go for inspiration, and you can do amazing things there. But that's why I want a private channel. So let's talk a little bit about that private channel and how do I set up that private channel to work for me. So let's go ahead and share back to Perplexity, my favorite screen. So let's see here. There we go. Again, I'm a huge fan of Perplexity. So I asked the question here, how do I set up a private channel in Discord and add the MidJourney bot? So there's two steps that you're going to do. Inside of Discord, you're going to create a new channel, a private channel, and then you're going to go ahead and add what's called the MidJourney bot to that. And here it walks you through that. Or you can see here's two videos. I'd recommend this bottom one. You can just click on that. And again, it'll walk you through step by step on how to do this. And again, I apologize. If you guys want to do a deeper dive and you want me to do an entire training just on how do I set up a private channel or how to do that, let me know. I'm happy to do that. But my goal here is to cover the basics across the board so that you get a really good perspective on how MidJourney works. So again, I'm not doing that. And I forgot to share my screen again. There we go. So here it is. There's our Perplexity. Sorry about that, guys. So as you can see there, that's the answer to my question. And there's the two videos over there, as I mentioned. I'd recommend probably the bottom one there. I actually know that creator, and he does a really good job in his videos. And he'll walk you through step by step how it is that you set up that channel, how you add in the bot, and how we can make all that work. And again, the big benefit to you guys at that point is when we're doing that in MidJourney, we're creating that private session for us, which is a great way to do that. So we've talked a little bit about that. Let me go back into MidJourney real quick and just show you what that looks like when you're there so you can see that. So I have a private server set up. It's indicated by the icon over here. I've then got multiple channels inside of that. But if you look over here on the right, and let's see here, go back and share my screen there again. If we look over on the right, you'll see I have two bots in here. I have what's called the MidJourney bot. That gives me full MidJourney access. And I have what's called the Insight Face Swap. And I'm going to show you that here as we get close to the end of the training. And this will actually make sure that you guys can know how we can do that face swap feature, which is, I know, something everybody loves to do. By the way, if you saw my promotional graphic for this particular class that I put up, that promotional graphic did exactly that. I created an image, I used face swap, and put myself on there. So that's a really cool feature that we can do with that. All right, so based upon that, let's walk through how can we create some really cool prompts. Well, what I'm going to show you next is how we can use ChatGPT, if you're familiar with that at all, how we can use ChatGPT to actually create amazing prompts for us. And I will share this prompt, by the way, in the chat here in just a moment, so you guys don't have to frantically run to screenshot this. It'll be super easy. But this is what is my MidJourney prompt, and I've used this for quite a while. I'm just going to read this off so you can understand what we're doing. It says, I'd like you to take on the role of a prompt engineer with an expertise in image creation, assisting me in crafting prompts for an AI art generator. I'll provide you with brief content ideas, and your task will be to expand those into detailed, unambiguous, and coherent prompts. When developing prompts, describe the content and style of the images using clear and accurate language. It's helpful to include references to popular photographers, and I'll say, or artists in this case, because it depends on what we're doing. Artists, there we go. With an emphasis on nouns and adjectives. Use the following formula for creating your prompts: content, medium, resolution, style, lighting, blah, 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 blah. And if you want to have specific styles, you can fill some of them in. So for example, I filled in realistic digital photography for medium because that's part of what I want. Inspired by a popular photographer. We'll just say, or artist here. How do I want it lit? I want a well-lit, brightly lit scenario. I could change that to dark and dank as well. I want realistic and vivid colors. And this is a tip. If you're a photographer, if you know somebody that is, you can actually put in a specific camera model and camera lens that you want it to mimic when it does this. And so I've went out and grabbed one of the highest end cameras, I'm sorry, that is available from Canon with one of their best lenses. And I've told it to use that. And then composition includes shot types and position elements. So if there's nothing here, ChatGPT is going to fill this in. And then I give it some, and I ask it to give us 2 prompts for this image. So we're going to go ahead and say, then the image I want is, and we're going to do a face replace. So I'm going to say the image I want is a 50-year-old man with a gray beard. And we'll say in a coffee shop. We'll spell coffee right. And there we go. Now what's going to happen here, of course, because we're doing a live, it's telling me that the systems are busy. Let's try again later. Here we go. That was later. And there we go. It's now going to work through and it's going to give us this prompt. We'll wait just a minute. It's going to give us 2 prompts here. You can see prompt 1 is coming up. Prompt 2 will be coming up in just a moment here. And I will, Monica, yes, I'm going to put that in. Thank you for the reminder. Let me grab that really quick here. While it's thinking, I'll grab this exact prompt here. That way you guys don't have to grab it. We'll scroll down and see what's happening here. Let me put that back in the chat here. So this is a Chat GPT image prompt for MidJourney. Now you could use this on other tools. You wouldn't have to use it on MidJourney, but it works really well, as you're going to see here in just a minute. Let's type this in the chat. So there's that entire prompt. You can use that and run with it. So now what we're going to do, we've got the prompt there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the first prompt. You can see this is a long prompt. And this may or may not be the style I want because it's somewhat random. You can do this multiple times. And I'm going to actually, while I'm here, let's go ahead and go back over to MidJourney. Swap our screens here real quick. Go back into MidJourney. There we go. And I'm going to paste this in. Now, remember, you have to start with Imagine. If you don't use Imagine, it'll just sit there and won't do anything for you. So it's going to go ahead. Now, you may notice if you're paying a lot of attention here and you see the system automatically added in an aspect ratio, a version, a stylize, and a raw command to the end of that. And that's because I did that in my settings, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. As you start using MidJourney, you're going to figure out certain styles that you really like. And I like creating images in a 4x5 mode. A lot of my images go on social media, and that style or size works great there. I wanted to use version 6, and I wanted to use stylize, which brings in more detail. So that's why I've done all that. And I've set that up in my settings. So we're getting some pictures here of some gray bearded men that may or may not look like me. I'm going to just, for the sake of discussion, pick on number 3. So let's upsize number 3. Again, we click on that very quickly there. I've got that updated picture. I need to save this image because I'm going to show you guys how to do the face swap next. So I'm going to save that image out. And now I'm going to go into a new command. Notice the third one down here I have is called swap ID. So I have already uploaded a selfie picture of myself, and that's important because I need to do that. So here I need to create the image that I want it to put it on. So there's the image we just created. And then you need to put in a name here, and I named that JMast. And we press enter. And what's going to happen here is you get so many credits per day, and we'll click on this. The first guy was better looking than I am, but if you guys know me, and you can take a look at me in the screen here a minute, this is going to give you an example of my face put on top of that image. So just as a reminder, here's the good looking version of the guy, so to speak. All right. And here's my face thrown on top of that. So again, you can do that in different ways. And I could do that for different images. Let's say I want to grab one of these other images. Maybe I want to grab number 1 here. So let's save number 1 just to show you guys how that goes. There's number 1. I'm going to save that image to my computer. And then I'm going to go back in here and we're going to go to swap ID again. I'm going to pick image number 1. And by the way, I can have some fun here. We can do this on any style of image. It doesn't have to be just me. Bear with me. The computer is thinking here. So let's make sure that and I realized I'm not sharing. I'm so sorry, folks. We'll go back. Yes. Can I share that? Sorry about that. All right. So while that's thinking here, let's go back in and show you. My computer has decided I've got the funny beach ball, which is always great. So I went through all that and didn't share my screen. Guys, I am so sorry about that. That's what I get with multiple screens going on here. I think MidJourney may have crashed, so we're going to actually stop MidJourney. Bear with me a second. We're going to stop it and restart here a minute, and it should bring us back. Yep, definitely Discord has decided it's not happy. So let's stop that on the computer here a minute. We're going to lose the screen. There we go. Now I'm going to bring it back in, and we'll try once again. So let's load this up. It's starting. I'm going to share my screen here again. This time I'll make sure I share it. MidJourney. There we go. All right, we're back in. I'm going to go back to my channel over here. There we can go. And I'll show you the pictures now that I had forgotten to show you. It looks like it didn't save all those. That's really weird. Well, it crashed on us. So let's create another version of that. So let's, again, grab an image here a minute. I want to grab that same one that I did. So there's the one from ChatGPT. Oops, and I forgot to put Imagine. We're going to recreate images. It'll be something similar to what we did last time. There we go. You guys should be able to see this now. There we go. Let's see here. While we're doing this, we're going to see, Nora asked, is this similar to a deep fake? Yeah, this would be similar to a deep fake. And I don't know if that's not a command you use inside of MidJourney, so that wouldn't work exactly, but it's the same type of thing. So yes, this would be like creating a deep fake. Let's see what's happening here as we create this. It's thinking. So go through. So by the way, this is the one I did earlier, and I don't have the other one. If you guys know me, you can see I've got very distinguished eyebrows and stuff like that. And my nose, it's actually taken basically my forehead, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, and it's put that on the other image that I had at that point in time. And unfortunately, that image is not there, but I can show it to you when we upload it. But we've got some new images here. So let's take a look. We've got 4 new images. So tell me in the group, you guys get to pick this time. There's 4 images, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Which of those would you like me to put my face on? I'm going to give you just a second. Let me know in the group. 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1's upper left, 2 is upper right, 3 is lower left, 4 is lower right. Which one of those do you want me to put my face on? You let me know. Just put 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I'll do it. Tina says number 1. That's kind of a good one. Anybody else got any thoughts? Number 1, I've got a couple number 1s, so we're going to go with number 1. That makes sense to me. Nora wants number 4. If we have time, we'll do that. So what I need to do, I need to first upscale number 1, which is easy to do. I'm going to save this image like we've talked about in the past. So there's my image. I'm going to save that. Then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do a different command. This time it's swap ID. And this time we're sharing the screen so you guys can actually see this. Here is the picture that my original, so not my face, but the picture I want my face on. Oops, that's not it. That was the other one. Why did it not save? Let's try this again. Save image. Make sure it saves. Let's go grab it here a minute. There we go. Now it's there. So there's image number 1. You guys can see that. And then I need to give it a name. And again, I've already uploaded my selfie, and so it's going to use my selfie here and replace that. You do get, by the way, 50 free credits a day. Each one takes about 3 or 4 credits. This is through, again, the Insight Face Swap bot. And you can see now it's put my eyebrows, my eyes, my nose, and even my cheeks a little bit on this same photo. So for reference, here's the original, the good-looking guy. And here's me in the face swap. So just like that, it's that easy, and I can then use that across the board. So Clinton and Nora wanted to see number 4, so let's do the same thing on number 4 real quick. We'll go back up and upscale number 4. This will be interesting because I've got a fat face. This guy's got a little bit narrower face. So let's save this image. There we go. Whoops. I see what I did last time. I forgot to press enter to save it. There we go. We're going to go back in and do another face swap. By the way, you can have a lot of fun with this, guys, and doing different things. I'm going to pick that image. So here's image number 4. And again, I'm going to put my name in, JMast, and it's going to send the command, and it's going to create a new one. And just like that, there's my face instead of the face that came with it. So again, the good-looking guy and me. Now, it may not fool my wife, but you can have a lot of fun with that and pull in very unique aspects. So if you're looking for that, I definitely want to encourage you to play around with that face swap feature. It's a lot of fun. Can I cover how to upload my pic? Yes. So what you're going to do is anytime you want to upload your pic, I'm simply going to click on the plus here and upload a file. I would then upload my selfie. And then when I do that, it's going to ask me to give that a name. And I can give that a name, and I just gave it my initials, J Mast, and that way I can reference it in the future. So it's really that simple. So super easy to do. And again, good stuff there. So next thing I want to show you guys is settings. So I talked to you when I was creating this image. And by the way, while we're doing this, let's go ahead and create the second GPT. So I created the first one, but we didn't create, remember, ChatGPT gave us 2 different prompts, if you remember, but we didn't actually run the second one. So let's go ahead and run the second one just to see how different of images that may create for us. That'll take just a second. And when this is done, I'm going to show you the settings, because as I pointed out earlier, as you can see here at the end, it added in my aspect ratio, my version, my stylize, and all that automatically. And it does that from the settings menu, which I'm going to walk through and show you exactly how we use that. So let's see, we got a couple questions here. Monica's asking, when we generate something, can everyone see it? So no, that's the reason I recommend using this private channel. So by having it in this private channel, while there may be a way that somebody could go through the MidJourney logs and find it, I'm not aware that anybody's going to now see any of these images. So if we go back to the main MidJourney page, none of these images are going to be there for them to see. It's another reason I recommend setting up a private channel. In fact, the only people that can get access to this channel would be people that I invite into the channel. And anybody that's in there, I can share with and make that super easy to use. But that's a great question. So no, it's one of the other reasons I really recommend that you use the private server. As you can see, it's generated 4 other images. These are very different than the other ones that we did. I won't do another face swap on this because we don't need to go through that again. But again, great tool. And if you guys want, I'd love to show you some more prompting examples. We've got a few minutes here. If you've got a couple of pictures or images you'd like me to create, put them in the chat and I'll go into ChatGPT. We'll run that script again and we'll see how that works. One of the last things I want to show you today before we do some more what ifs is I want to show you the settings page. So again, I have to press the / key and then I can go to settings. And when I do this and press enter, it's going to show me the settings that I have set up. So what have I done? By default here, they have different models that are available of MidJourney. And so I'm using model the V6 Alpha. There's a Ninja model, which creates more like anime type characters. And then there's a 5.2 and 5.1. There are differences in the way it creates images. So you can use different models, but I like the current version best. So I've set that as my default. And then I get to choose other options that are up there. So I've said I want to enable raw mode. What raw mode does is basically it tells MidJourney, prioritize the command that I typed in for the image I wanted. Don't try to infer and assume anything. I then can put in different stylize options that I want and where I want the options to be. So I could change to stylize high. Notice, so stylize low, by the way, is S50. Stylize medium is going to give me nothing. That's default. Stylize high is 250, and stylize very high would be 750. Stylize, just so you guys know, this is that S command right here at the end. That's like detail. So if you can imagine the hair on my head, the higher that number is between 1 and 1,000, the more detail it's going to get. Sometimes detail is good, and other times detail is not so good. So I have mine set up right now. It's clicking high. It's going to put it at S250. You can see up here I had it set at S500, and I'll show you that in a moment. And then we've got different buttons that we can turn on. So public mode or non-public mode. Again, Monica, you'd asked about that. Nobody can see this server, so I can turn off public mode, but it doesn't really change anything because I'm on a private channel. If I was on the MidJourney channel, I could turn this into private mode, and you can pay to have your images hidden there, or you can just set up the private server. Remix mode, which is this button right here. So I love to have that on. I turn on high variation mode. They give me options there. Sticky style, I could turn that on or off if I wanted to. That'll make a difference in what we're using as far as styles go. So I can do that. And then I can turn on or off turbo mode. By default, it's on, and that's good. And that's where we want to be at. So that's all simple and easy. And I can set that up however it is that I want. I can also adjust my settings right here. Let me see. Nope, I can't edit it there. I don't remember how to edit that. I'll have to go back in and figure out where I change that. But you can actually type in that as well. And I'll try to remember where we get that. But settings is super helpful to set some of that up. So I encourage you, once you pick out your style and you like it, then set up the things that you like accordingly so you can get more consistent images that you're trying to get at that point in time. So that sets my styles. All right, let's go back to chat here a minute and see what we've got in the chat. Let's see here. And I'm not pre-reading these. So what's the best way to share MidJourney access with a team in an agency setting? Great question. So what I've done with the private server here is, if I go back in, you can see we've got a general channel. And this general channel is shared with my team. So these are images that we create for our clients that we're using. And then once we're in here, I can give access. You can see I've got multiple team members over here that have access. Neither of them are online at the moment. This being Good Friday, our office is actually technically closed, even though I'm doing some stuff today. So Chalache and Paige have access. And you just add them right there. And you can do that by just adding them or inviting them to this channel. So it's super easy. If we go up over here, invite people, you can see, and that takes care of it. There's also things I can do down here to do all kinds of other things that if I want to, I can deal with. But invite people is where you would go in order to answer that question, is to invite them to their account and they're good. Tina's got another question for us. Let's see. Keep having issues with Discord. Currently, I'm in a timeout. Any way to do this without Discord or an alternative? No, that unfortunately, Tina, is a real issue. Although I have not run into it personally, I know some of my team has. The only way to use MidJourney currently is through using the Discord's bot. So there's no way around that until I believe you've created it's 1,000 or 10,000 images. Then they do have a new website that's coming out. They keep telling us it should be available soon. I'm going to guess later this year, probably by summer, you'll have the ability to do that. In the meantime, if you're having problems with Discord, email Discord's tech support. They tend to respond within 24 hours or less, and they will get it fixed for you. Clinton's got a question for us here. Does each team member need a MidJourney plan? Yes. So you will need an individual plan for each team member. So if you're at that $30 plan, each team member that has it needs one. Now, you can share your login with others. So Clinton, if only one of you at a time is going to be in the system, you can share that login. I don't know if that meets their technical licensing restrictions, but I do know other agencies that do that. But we do buy a unique license for each user, mainly because we're doing a lot of work and we want to make sure that each user has the ability to get in simultaneously. So in this case, Chalache and Paige and I can all be using MidJourney at the exact same time. And that just helps things work more smoothly across the board. So super, super simple for us to do based upon that. All right, I'd love to create a couple images for you guys. Can you give me some suggestions in the chat? I said we were going to run an hour, so we've got about 10 minutes left. What are some images that you'd like to see? And what I'm going to do, you can just give me a topic or anything else. I'm going to go ahead and throw that into our ChatGPT prompt, create that, and then share that. Or if you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask them. We've got some time here, and I'm happy to do that. So I would love your image suggestions, and or I'd love suggestions on questions that you have. While we're waiting for you guys to do that, I'm going to go over here, and one of the most common questions I get is, Jonathan, how do you create those Pixar images that you do? And so I'm going to share that formula with you. I start off by just typing in 3D cartoon animation of, and then you need a topic. So it's a person. So in this case, let me just say, I'm going to pick, and by the way, MidJourney doesn't always get ages right. So you got to play around. So I'm going to say 40-year old Asian woman. And then we're going to say in a coffee shop. And then I'm going to add in, because I want the background to be blurred. If you've ever seen images where the foreground is in really clear and the background's blurred, that's a photography term called bokeh, B-O-K-E-H. You can just type that in as a word and it'll know. And then I'm going to say inspired by Disney. If I can spell Disney, there we go. And Pixar animation. And go. And it's going to go ahead and do this, and we should end up with something very similar to this, and I'll show you some other ways that we can put that in place. While we're doing that, let's see, we've got Easter Bunny, Miami skyline. Thank you, by the way, for the ideas. I love that. We've got a question here while we're waiting for that to generate. Let's see, is there any other way I can get the ChatGPT prompt that you mentioned earlier? Yes, I will absolutely. If it didn't come through in the YouTube chat, I want to ask you and to go to my website. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. If I can find the right tab, bear with me here. So I'm going to show this for just a minute while this is generating. If you guys go to there, jonathanmass.com/linktree, I've got all my contact information there. You guys can go ahead and ask me for that, and I will be happy to get that. Well, I'll let that play for just a minute here. Let's take a look at these images. So now I've got more Pixar cartoonish style characters. Notice these are quite a bit different. But maybe I like the one with the glasses, and I say, oh, I like with glasses. I could actually go back into this image now, do my regenerate, make sure I've spelled everything right, which I didn't necessarily. And I'm just going to put wearing blue glasses. So I want to have blue glasses instead. The rest of it we'll just run with. Make sure I've spelled everything right, more or less. There we go. And submit. And we'll let this one generate. While we're doing that, let's go ahead into ChatGPT and let's grab a couple of the images that you guys had asked for. So one of them I hear is Miami skyline by day and night. So I don't know what that's going to look at, but let's go, while we're doing that, let's go into ChatGPT. Again, I'm going to share that window here a minute. Let's go to ChatGPT. Make sure I turn it on this time so I'm sharing it. And let's go and run this prompt again. So I'm going to grab that original prompt. And then we're going to put in Miami. Oops, if I can spell it. There we go. Miami skyline by day and night. I don't know what it's going to do by that, but I'm very curious to see what it comes up with. So again, it's going to give us a prompt. Here we go. ChatGPT is sometimes unruly. It may not give us two of them, but it's definitely giving us at least one. No, it's giving us two. There we go. So let's start with this one here. We'll go back and we'll go into our channel here a minute. Go back to Discord. Remember, we had done blue glasses, so we're probably back on the Pixar character with blue glasses. Let's see how we did. Oh, we got some blue glasses at least. Definitely blue here and blue here, a little more green and brown, but we got some glasses. So if I wanted to take a little bit closer look at that, we'll upscale number 4 and we'll zoom in. You can see I definitely got, again, somebody that MidJourney thinks is 40-ish with blue glasses and that Pixar style. And notice how the background here is blurred. That's that bokeh effect that I mentioned to you. And then you can see in her hair and in her sweater, this is that stylized number that I mentioned to you between 0 and 1,000. Because it's currently set at 250, I'm getting a pretty good level of style. I could make it even more so by bumping that up a little bit. But let's go ahead and do one of these prompts from MidJourney or from ChatGPT for MidJourney. So there's everything we've got. I'm going to manually tell it I want a little more detail. So I'm going to put in S500 and that'll override the 250 that it had, but it's going to go ahead and create this for us. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go grab the other prompt so we can create the other one as well. I love having 2 prompts created because as you're going to see, it will create 2 very different styles of images as we're going through things. There we go. Once again, I forgot to share screen. Thank you guys. So we go ahead and put that in as well. There we go. While we're generating those, I'll go back up to the image since I forgot to share my screen. You can see the blue glasses. You can see the bokeh effect, like I mentioned, is this faded out part in the back that's a little bit blurry. That's that bokeh effect. And then the style, as I was mentioning, her sweater, you can see pretty clear here the yarn in her sweater that's coming through. The higher that number is, the more detail I would get there, the more detail we would get in her hair and things like that, as far as some clarity there. So it's going ahead and creating some things we're thinking. So let's take a look at this first one. This was the first prompt given to us. Now, again, we asked in day and night, so it didn't really do that, but these do look like Miami to me. Definitely looks like the river going through downtown Miami there, and the various buildings. So that's pretty cool. And let's see what else we got. The other one looks like it's finishing up, not quite done. There we go. And this one, it did a nighttime photo. So it picked one of each, and you can see similar type images. And the neat thing is, if I get into one of these that I like it, I can always have it create variations. So let's say, for example, I like this lower third one here and I want variations. I can just click on variations, and it's going to now just create a variation on that third image for me. We'll let that go ahead and go. And I'm going to go back to the chat here a minute. Let's see here. How well can ChatGPT, the free thing, generate prompts? So really well. 3.5 in the free version of ChatGPT will do a great job of generating those prompts for you. I'm a paid subscriber, so I use 4 by default, but 3.5 will absolutely still allow you to create some amazing images. So I definitely encourage you, if that's what you've got, go with it, run with it. And then let's go back here to the blue glasses, an Asian woman with blue eyes. So let's try that, Tina. I'll go ahead and do that when we're done with the current one. So let's go see where we're at here on this. Notice it was stylizing, and just a reminder. So this is image 3 that it gave us, so you guys can see it. And I asked it to create more variations on that. And so the variations it's creating are right here. And you can see those are very similar, but there are some subtle differences between each of those. And that's where that variation comes in. So Tina had asked about blue eyes. So I'm going to go up to the Asian woman here a minute, and I will grab this one right here. I'm going to regenerate this. I could put the prompt in, but it's also easy just to go in and do this. So I said, let's do with blue eyes, wearing blue glasses. And we'll submit that one and see what it does. MidJourney, by the way, in Discord, it keeps putting things at the bottom of the channel. So there you can go. So no, why isn't it doing it? It is, Tina, I'm not sure if I'm following you exactly. Tina, we've got it's thinking here, right here. So hopefully I'm following you and paying attention. We'd asked for blue glasses the first time, and if you remember, we got 2 of them with blue glasses and 2 that didn't. So sometimes MidJourney will listen to your prompt. Sometimes it's going to have a mind of its own. One thing I want to encourage you is to start experimenting and playing around. You'll definitely have that opportunity. Let's take a look at what we got here. So we did better on blue glasses. All of them have blue glasses, and it looks like everybody's got bluish eyes. I think number 2 is the best. So let's go ahead and upscale number 2. And there is a sample of what MidJourney believes is a cartoon 3D animation of a 40-year-old woman with blue glasses and blue eyes. Let's see, Tina's asking, it generated 1, why would it do that? Had blue glasses and eyes. Yeah, sometimes it just, again, it infers different things as you're doing, Tina. That's why you definitely have to do different styles of images as you're going about things. That'll definitely make a difference for you. Let's see, Wally's got a question here a minute. Let's take a look. Can MidJourney create a rotation transition from day to night version like an animated GIF? So no, it's not going to be able to create an animated GIF for you, but it could create both images that you could then turn into a GIF in a program like Canva or Photoshop or something like that. So you can create both of those images, but it can't. Some of the other cool things that it does is, we can do like tiled patterns, for example. So if you guys have other questions, by the way, we've got a few more minutes. Feel free to put them in there, and I'll be happy to stick around a little bit longer. But let me show you the tile command, because that can be kind of interesting. So let's do, in this case, we'll do something simple. We'll just call it let's see, I'm down in Alabama near the Gulf. So let's just do pelicans near the water. And we'll just put tiled, I believe is the right command. and see what it does. This should, if it works the way I want to, create an image that is a small version of a pelican near the water. And then if you can imagine a wallpaper or a repeatable tiled pattern, create something in this case that would basically be a repeatable pattern that you could use for a background or anything like that along the way as you were going through. So let's see what we get here in a minute. We're going to wait just a second here. Nothing like waiting. And again, if you do have any questions, I'll be happy to stick around. So I did not use that tile command the right way. So I'm going to quickly go back to Perplexity here. I'm not going to share my screen real quick, but I'm going to just ask it, how do I use the tile command in MidJourney? And again, I know I'm not sharing my screen, guys. I apologize, but so let's go ahead and see what it tells me here. There we go. My computer is being funny and not wanting to tell me how to do it. Looks like we just add the tile function. So let's see here. It didn't work for some reason. Not sure why it didn't work. Welcome to MidJourney, folks. That does happen sometimes. So instead of wasting time on that, I've got a couple more questions here in a minute. Let's go take a look. What do we've got? A question here. Can you use the image and have it come up with the same subject with a different background? So no, this is a really common question. So we can use what's called a seed number for the image to have it create similar versions. So if I'm looking at this pelican photo, for example, let me pull up number 1. And I say, I really like this, but I want to use that with a different background. I cannot have it replicate that exact image on a different background. MidJourney will not do that. Now, they're getting better at recreations of characters, and they've got some new features out that are a little more advanced that I'd be happy to cover in another class that can talk about some of the things that they can do there, but it's still kind of a best guess. It doesn't work as well as you want. They are getting better, and I anticipate that'll be continuing to improve because it's a very, very common question about how can you use a character repeatedly. What I recommend doing in that case, if you find a character that you like this pelican, if I want to keep using it, I can pull this into Canva, and then I can create new backgrounds, and those new backgrounds, I can then go ahead and put that same image on in either Canva or Photoshop. But that's definitely the best way to do it. All right, guys. Well, we've been here for a whole hour. I hope this has been valuable. I would love to hear some feedback from you really quickly. If you're watching this live or on the replay, if this has been valuable to you and this is the stuff you'd like, would you just put a 1 in the comments? I'd love to see a lot of 1s. If it hasn't been valuable, would you put a 0 in the comments? Because then I'd love to reach out. By the way, I may reach out and ask you what we'd like, but I'd love to see that. If this is valuable or not. I'd also love some feedback from you guys. Would it be beneficial to do a more advanced version of this or detailed diving in? You guys are welcome to comment here and let me know what topics in MidJourney you'd really like us to dig into. Guys, thank you for all the ones. That's fantastic. It makes me feel great. But I'd love to know what topics you would like us to dive into. Maybe, for example, you'd like us to talk and do a deep dive into the different styles and show you the different styles. Or maybe you want to do even a deeper dive into face swap and understand how we can do that. We can walk you through the whole process. Any questions that you've got as we go through, I'd love to have you guys ask, and we'll help do our best to go ahead and put that together. Guys, I want to thank you for your time. If you're watching live, I really thank you. If you're watching the replay, that's great as well. If you guys have any questions or you need anything more, again, just go to my website at jonathanmass.com/linktree. I'm not there to sell you anything, although you can buy some of my courses. That's not the purpose. I've got tons of free resources as well. I do have some paid courses that you're welcome to get into, but I would love to be a resource. And if you're not in my free Facebook group, we've got about 87,000 people in that group. I'd love to have you join that group as well. And I think I may just have, let me look here. I may have the ability to give you that link. If not, oh boy, let's see here. Nope, I don't have that one pre-programmed. So that's my mistake, guys. But if you want, you can go ahead and you'll see the link right on my Linktree page. Got a link to the group. Join us there. With that, guys, I want to say thank you. I so appreciate your feedback. Love the chat and love the feedback in the chat. You guys have been amazing. I want to add value, so please let me know what things we can do to add more value, and I will do my best to do that. I see Katie and others are adding things in there. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. We'll definitely put together a style one, Katie. We'll get that one in place. I can see that's there, and some advanced prompting. That's great. So guys, thank you so much. Have a very blessed Easter, and we'll see you next